Everything is changing in this universe. Human nature is changing. Evolution is continuing to take place. Religions are also changing. The most important influence now is the influence of science. There are many popular misconceptions about science. Science is empirical verification of our hypotheses, hunches, or theories. Mere speculation will not make science. It is the empirical verification which makes science different from philosophy. From this definition, we can say that science is not of recent origin. It has been there with humanity from the very beginning. Most of the things that we do, what we eat, what we do to construct a house or to make clothes, all these things are the result of human effort, empirical validation of our guesses, our suppositions. But as an organized endeavor, science is very recent. It started around the 18th century. So will science entirely replace religion? That is the question many people have been asking ever since science came into existence. Many people suppose that science is based on materialistic dogma. Science is not based on any dogma, really. It allows any kind of hypothesis or theory. Only thing is that it becomes fact only when supported by empirical evidence. Intuition is very important in science, in the formulation of hypotheses and theories. In the 18th century, Newton was the first person to systematically and empirically study natural phenomena. At the time of Newton, the word science was not there. It was called a natural philosophy. Newton's laws of motion and theories of gravitation, universal gravitation as it is called, gave a new picture of the universe. The regularities of nature can be studied by empirical methods. The three most important figures in science are Sir Isaac Newton, and then Charles Darwin, who proposed the theory of evolution in the field of biology, and of course Albert Einstein in more recent times. Now, what is the attitude of these three most influential scientists with regard to religion? Did they believe in God? Belief in God necessarily implies a spiritualistic orientation, though a spiritualistic orientation does not necessarily imply belief in a personal God. God is a symbol of pure consciousness. The human mind cannot deal with the reality as such. It can only deal with symbols, and God becomes a symbol. Just like in algebra, you suppose a value as x when you do not know its exact figure. And when you solve the equation, you get a value for x. But unless you conceive of x, you cannot solve the equation. So x is only a symbol, a method to arrive at a final value. Like that, a concept of God enables you to proceed along the track of understanding reality. Sir Isaac Newton believed in God. In fact, after giving shape to his theories of laws of motion and universal gravitation, he wrote a book saying that therefore you should not think that the universe is mechanistic. He thought that God is necessary to understand or explain the actual mechanism of gravitation. The formula for force of attraction between two bodies, that is G, gravitational constant multiplied by the mass of the two objects m1 into m2, divided by d square, where d is the distance between the two objects. This only gives a measure of the force, gravitational force, but it does not explain the mechanism. So in his book, Newton says that it is God who makes the thing work. The formula only gives a means to measure the force. How can two objects not touching each other attract each other? The actual mechanism can be attributed to the operation of God, according to Newton. And when Charles Darwin wrote the Evolution of Species, many people thought that it is not necessary to conceive of a God anymore as creator, because the entire evolution can be explained in terms of natural principles, natural variation, survival of the fittest, and so on and so forth. But 3 years before his death, Charles Darwin wrote very clearly that he is not an atheist, and that nobody should mistake him for a materialist. Just because he wrote the theory of evolution. In fact, he stopped going to the church towards the end of his life, and this made many people think that he was an atheist. Charles Darwin explained that he doesn't believe in the details of Christian belief like Trinity and all that, but that doesn't make him an atheist. He still believed that there was God behind everything. And of course, Einstein is the most intuitive genius. He created a revolution in our understanding of the universe. His theories came out of his intuition, and he borrowed mathematics from other people to give exact shape to his intuition. And when he proposed his initial theories, like the theory of relativity, nobody accepted it. It was considered to be preposterous. But later on, when the predictions came true, only people accepted the theory. The special theory of relativity says that mass, velocity, time, etc. are relative. So when you travel fast, time slows down and mass increases. So what does have Einstein to say about spirituality? Vihuri Menivin was a boy. He once played the violin in front of Einstein. And then Einstein remarked Today you have proved that God exists, which means that Einstein's belief in God is not that of traditional religion, but he sees God as an elevated state of mind or mindlessness.